Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. CV sounds a very intimidating term to many of us. We often do not know what to write in a CV when we are asked to submit one. Broadly, a CV should have two parts, the content and the structure. And it is the structural aspect of a CV that often gets overlooked. In your CV, it is very important to highlight the key attributes that you have to grab the attention of your employer and to set you apart from other applicants. Equally important, it is to mold your CV according to the role that you're applying for. Recently, in our Department of Diabetes and Endocrinology, a job advertisement went out in the NHS jobs website for which we received quite a few applications. I had the good fortune to sit with my educational supervisors to go through these applications. This exercise gave me very important insight as to what goes through the employer's mind when they try to select a particular CV from all these applications. So in this video today, I am going to share with you those important tips that I learned from that day sitting with my education supervisor. If you are new to this channel, I am Dr. Aparajita.roy. In this video today, I am going to discuss with you two main points regarding your CV. What are the necessary criteria in your CV to be successful for interview shortlisting in the NHS? How to arrange them in a meaningful template so that in the eyes of your employer, your CV stands out among hundreds of other applications. By and large, the CV is structured under 4 headings. Please remember the acronym CAMP. So CAMP stands for Clinical, Academic Achievements, Managerial Responsibilities and Personal Hobbies, etc. Under the section of Clinical Experience, include all the jobs that you have worked at starting from internship, but please remember to put the recent most job experience right at the top. Then date them back up to your internship. A good structure to follow will be mentioning the job title, the name of the organization, whether it was a primary care center or a tertiary care center, including the number of beds in the hospital, the duration of the post and whether it was full-time or less than full-time, and a brief description of your role. Example, whether it included outpatient duties or managing wards, whether there were any on-call duties, did you do clinics, etc. Next, under the clinical heading should come your procedural skills. Mention all the procedural skills that are relevant to the specialty of the job post that you're applying for. For example, if you're applying for a gastro post, remember to include procedural skills like ascitic drain insertion, endoscopy, etc. It is also worth mentioning whether you are able to carry out these procedures independently or under clinical supervision. Please be very honest about it. Because if you are selected in the job post that you applied for, you will be expected to carry out the procedural skills that you have mentioned in your CV. So it is very important not to lie in your CV and be absolutely honest and 100% sure before you make a comment on your procedural skills. Also, it is very important not to mention the skills that are not relevant for the post that you are applying for. Intubation is basically the job of an anesthetist. You will not be expected to maintain an airway or manage an airway unless in emergency situation in a medicine-based job in the NHS. A checklist of procedural skills that are expected for a medicine job are cannula insertion, phlebotomy, that is taking blood samples, chest aspiration and chest drains, ascitic fluid aspiration and putting in ascitic fluid drains, lumbar puncture, cardioversion, insertion of Foley's catheter, central line insertion, arterial line insertion. Now, not all of them are must-haves. Obviously, this list will vary with the role you are applying for. However, the more efficient you are with procedural skills, the more confident you will be in your daily life in the NHS. As an international medical graduate, we do not have access to e-portfolios like UK graduates. Try to maintain a logbook and document all the procedures that you have done during your clinical postings starting from internship. If possible, the icing on the cake will be to get it signed by your consultant so that you have documented evidence that you have carried out these procedures and are efficient in them. Next comes academic achievements. Number 1 in academic achievements would be publications and research. Remember, in this regard, quality is more important than quantity. Try to get publications in index journal that feature in PubMed. Journals with higher impact factor give a better impression in your CV. Try to be the first author, if not at least the second author in the publications. You should have at least 2 publications in your CV. Remember, original research work has the highest value in your CV, followed by a case series, followed by case reports, followed by letters to editor, etc. Now here's a pro tip. Try to publish in your chosen specialty. In the UK, commitment to specialty is taken very seriously and your CV should be well reflective of that. Having a publication in your chosen specialty will indicate to your employer that you have serious understanding towards research in your specialty rather than randomly working on projects that have come your way. Next, exams. Include exams that you have passed and that are relevant to your role. In the NHS, a few relevant exams are PLAB, MRCP, SCE, FRC-PAT, EDIC, IELTS, OET. Now, during the CV selection in the role that I had mentioned earlier in the video, we came across an application where the candidate has mentioned that he has done some parts of many exams. For example, he has done step 1 of USMLE, he has done MRCP part 1, he has passed some part of the Australian medical exam. Basically, what he wanted to portray was that he is very good with exams or he has a lot of knowledge. To the panel, it seemed that the candidate was desperate to leave his home country and was attempting every overseas exam possible but did not have the perseverance to stick through all the parts of an exam. So pro tip, less is more. Remember, you don't have to mention anything and everything that you have done in your life in your CV. Be smart and mention only those points that are relevant to your CV and that would make you appear a good fit for the role that you're applying for. Next is courses. Relevant courses like ALS, DAPHNE, teaching courses may be mentioned. Ultrasound courses are highly recommended for any acute medicine jobs. If you're applying for a cardiology-based role, it would be a good idea to do some courses on echocardiography or reperfusion techniques, etc. If you have done one, it's important that you highlight that in your CV. Next comes conferences. Any conferences that you have attended or have been a part of should be mentioned in your CV. If you have been a speaker, that gets you more marks than if you have just been an attendee. Oral presentations carry more weightage than poster presentations. Next comes teaching. We all have done some sort of bedside teaching during our jobs in our home country. But what we are not good at is documenting them or collecting evidence. So, a good idea is to collect feedback from the students that you have taught. In this video, I will share a template that you can use to collect evidence from the students that you have taught. Also, if you can, get your consultant or a senior colleague to supervise you during these teaching sessions, and if you can, get a feedback from them as well. This will definitely fetch you brownie points in the evaluation process. Mention in your CV if you have done some inter or intra-departmental teachings like journal club, seminars, etc. Again, remember, commitment to a specialty. If you have a chosen specialty in your mind, it is a good idea to present journals or seminars in the chosen specialty. Next is awards and recognitions. This would include awards like honor certificates, scholarships, prizes that you have won in under or postgraduate studies. Next is audits and QIP. Many overseas candidates feel that audits and QIPs are must-haves in your CV. Many of us have done some form of quality improvement in our overseas role. For example, we may have set up a doctor's on-call room in our department. This is actually a quality improvement project. In my role as a senior resident in diabetes and endocrinology in RML Hospital, one of my colleagues did a very interesting thing. She devised a booklet for all patients for the diabetes clinic where the doctors would record the clinical consultation like the medicines prescribed or their blood results, etc. This came in very handy as often patients would lose their outpatient papers and that would lead to a lapse in the continuity of care. This is a very smart example of a quality improvement project. You may consider doing something similar in your clinic or hospital, and that's something that may be relevant for the specialty that you're applying for. Also, do not forget to collect evidence for the same. For example, getting a certificate from your consultant or for your department as a proof that you have done it. Next in our CAM structure is managerial achievements. Apart from our clinical responsibilities, managerial or leadership responsibilities are equally important in the NHS. Think of the managerial roles and responsibilities or the leadership qualities that you have to perform in your day-to-day role in your current job. An excellent example would be a rota coordinator. All of us at some point have devised rotas for ourselves, our peers, or for our juniors. This is an excellent example of leadership skills that you can mention in your CV. For something more substantial, here is a list of managerial skills that are coveted in the NHS. Lastly, personal achievements. Make this part brief. Now here's a pro tip. You can be very smart in demonstrating your commitment to specialty by incorporating the right hobbies in the personal section of your CV. One of my friends who was applying for a gastroenterology post very smartly wrote in his CV that he is very good at playing video games. This has helped him improve his manual dexterity, which is needed to maneuver an endoscope. That is really smart, isn't it? Lastly, a bonus tip. Now, the one thing that all NHS employers are looking for in a candidate CV is NHS experience. If you have NHS experience, that will definitely set you apart from other international medical graduates who do not have any NHS experience. So, if you can get any form of NHS experience, be it a clinical observer or a clinical attaché or even a volunteer, please make sure that you mention that in your CV in bold letters. I hope this video has given you some important insights regarding CV building and has made the whole process of CV building less intimidating. Please don't be disheartened if you don't tick all the boxes. Try to put more emphasis on the achievements that you already have and see how you can mold it into a proper structure so that it becomes a good fit for the role that you're applying for. That's it for today, guys. I hope this video was useful. Please let me know in the comment section below how you liked this video, and if you did like it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Till next time, stay safe, keep studying and ace your MRCP.